I'm Kinley Walsh-Lawler, President and CEO of Parks California. Across California, parks are places where nature and community come together. Through Arts in California Parks, artists and culture bearers are creating murals, performances, and cultural programs with local organizations that reflect community stories and deepen our connections to these landscapes. From music in neighborhood parks to murals that celebrate heritage, these projects remind us that parks are more than just open space. They're living galleries of creativity and belonging. Learn more at parkscalifornia.org/arts.
Good morning, I'm Lawrence K. Jackson. It's Wednesday, September 24th. A new detox center downtown is being called the first of its kind. More on that next, but first, the headlines. California is funding 4 more affordable housing developments across San Diego County. The funding is part of Governor Gavin Newsom's push to reduce homelessness and increase housing supply. The developments had already secured $16 million in county funding. The financing is expected to create 280 units of affordable housing. The money is targeted at 4 projects in the College area, Grantville, Otay Mesa, and Southeast County. A San Diego Housing Federation report last year found that since 2017, the county has invested more than $325 million in affordable housing. And now an update for your highways. Yesterday, we mentioned the last exit before Mexico on southbound Interstate 5 was scheduled to be closed, but now Caltrans has called the closure off. This means the Camino de la Plaza exit is open and will stay open. Caltrans decided that a full closure was not needed to replace underground piping near the exit and says drivers can expect an increase in traffic and noise, but not a full exit closure. Your San Diego Padres have officially secured a playoff spot. It's the first time in about 2 decades they'll be in the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. Doing it in dramatic fashion, too, Padres newcomer Freddie Fermin smashed a single in extra innings to seal the win. Also worth noting, the Padres still have a shot at the division title as well. No surprise here, but any path forward will inevitably involve the LA Dodgers. However it goes down, congrats to you, our Friar faithful, on another postseason berth. From KPBS, you're listening to San Diego News Now. Stay with me for more of the local news you need.
Here in Southern California, we know all too well the devastation wildfires can cause. That's why our mission is to stop the next one before it starts. I'm Brian D'Agostino, leader of SDG&E's Wildfire and Climate Science team, and we've built one of the most advanced wildfire prevention programs in the country with a team of world-class meteorologists using artificial intelligence and real-time weather data, all to help keep our communities safe. We're also building a stronger grid and using public safety power shutoff when necessary because, believe me, I've seen firsthand how unpredictable wildfires can be. But here at SDG&E, we face that uncertainty head-on to help keep you safe. Learn more at sdge.com/wildfire safety.
A new detox center at Father Joe's Villages in downtown San Diego opened its doors yesterday to people experiencing homelessness. Health reporter Heidi DeMarco says they're calling it the first of its kind in the county.
Homeless advocates say detox services for people experiencing homelessness are one of the biggest gaps in the local safety net. In 2024, 291 homeless San Diegans died from drug overdoses.
Sadly, treatment options for this population has been few and far between.
Josh Bohannon is Father Joe's Village's Chief Strategy Officer. He says up until now, there were only 2 Medi-Cal-eligible detox beds in the city of San Diego.
That means if you didn't have private insurance or you weren't wealthy and couldn't pay out of your pocket, you were waiting for one of 2 beds.
Council member Raul Campillo says the 44 new beds at Father Joe's Villages will help reduce wait times. The program is Medi-Cal eligible, meaning it's available to people regardless of income or insurance. After detox, people who complete the program won't be left on their own. Father Joe's coordinates next steps in recovery, including outpatient programs, residential treatment, sober shelters, and housing support. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
Father Joe's Villages is a corporate sponsor of KPBS. The KPBS News operation maintains editorial independence from KPBS executives, corporate underwriters, and donors. A county official who made crude remarks about dogs in animal shelters is not at work for now. Investigative reporter Scott Rodd says members of the public are demanding accountability.
Department of Animal Services Director Vaughn Maurice told staff in an email that Assistant Director Rachel Borelli would be, quote, out of the office in the near term. A county spokesperson declined to provide more details. The email came as KPBS published a story last week about a profane voice message Borelli sent. In it, she complained not enough dogs were being euthanized.
Those words were words of someone who shouldn't be in her position.
Loretta Alva is a resident of Lemon Grove.
And people need to take accountability.
Alva asked the County Board of Supervisors to strengthen oversight of the county's animal shelters. She signed a Change.org petition calling for Borelli's removal. It's received over 2,000 signatures so far. Scott Rodd, KPBS News.
Around the Salton Sea, dust storms have become an increasing problem, sparking dozens of public health studies. But many Imperial Valley residents have grown weary of repeated studies that all basically say the same thing, that air quality is bad and getting worse. Imperial Valley reporter Corey Suzuki says one group of scientists is trying to focus on solutions instead.
Amato Evan looks out towards the horizon. In the distance, a haze fills the air until it's hard to tell where the sky ends and the water begins.
So as the water from the Salton Sea, as the water levels go down, this is an area where the exposed playa or the parts of the Salton Sea that used to be underwater are rapidly being exposed to the air.
The Salton Sea, that's the vast inland lake that stretches across the Imperial Valley. The lake is slowly drying up under pressure from intense water use and drought, exposing a dry lake bed. It's a calm afternoon in April today. But during the monsoon season, when high winds arrive, they can hurl that soil into the air in the form of massive dust storms. Evan is a professor of atmospheric sciences at Scripps Institution of Oceanography in San Diego. He leads a statewide team of scientists who study dust. And he's here today with a couple colleagues looking at the contents of the soil and where it might be traveling. But Evan is also here for another reason. His long-term goal is to develop a forecasting system for dust storms in the Imperial Valley.
The ideal scenario is that people that live in these areas can wake up in the morning and look on their phone and find out, is there going to be a dust storm today?
Dust storms are a growing challenge across the western U.S. Recent studies say that's because of human-caused climate change. The Salton Sea region has seen at least 8 major dust storms since the turn of the century, according to federal climate data. Half of those were in just the last 5 years. These numbers, and the fact that the lake is filled with chemicals from large-scale farming, have led to a barrage of health studies. Researchers have examined asthma rates in nearby towns, ER visits, and the strain on the local healthcare system. But for many people who actually live in the Imperial Valley, it's not really clear that this research has made much of a difference in their lives.
We're a petri dish for studies.
That's Luis Olmedo. He's the leader of Comité Cívico del Valle, a local environmental justice group. Olmedo has seen many researchers come with good intentions, but who fail to focus on the knowledge and needs of residents who are experiencing the region's environmental disasters firsthand.
The expertise is right here. We're experts. We as a community are experts.
Local environmental justice groups have developed ways to monitor the air quality themselves. In 2007, Comité Cívico worked with the University of Washington to create a network of sensors that capture live readings of particles in the air. Their system certainly helped, but they also had limitations. They could only report the air quality in real time. That's when, 2 years ago, Olmedo and Evan, the atmospheric sciences professor, had a conversation. It went something like this.
Who essentially told me in a very nice way, we don't need any more studies. What we need are solutions.
I don't mince words. I say it directly.
That conversation sent Evan deep into thought about how his work could make a material impact. The answer he came up with was a dust forecast that could give people more time to protect themselves.
That might be, sure, you still have to go work outside, but you remember to take a mask, or hopefully your employer makes sure that they have a lot of N95s on hand. But that could also be, if you're a soccer coach, knowing that there's going to be a big dust storm later in the day, maybe you want to cancel soccer practice or end it an hour early so everybody can safely get home before that dust storm occurs.
The system Evan pictures would be able to predict dust storms days ahead of time, and would also be able to alert people in the hours or minutes before a storm actually arrives. He says it could be as simple as the built-in weather app on a smartphone. The challenge Evan faces now is a lack of funding. His research group needs around $3 million for specialized equipment, high-powered computers, and research in the field. Last year, he tried asking the state legislature for help, but a bill to fund the project didn't pass. Evan and his colleagues haven't given up. They're currently pushing ahead with a different strategy.
It's not cheap. $3 million is a lot of money. So what we're trying to do is approach the project in a piecemeal way by cobbling together different projects that all have elements useful in terms of a dust forecast. They might not be focused on that goal, but there are parts of those projects that we can apply to that goal.
That project along the Salton Sea, Evan says that's the first step. It's a chance to start developing computer models for the flow of dust around the valley, one of the foundations they'll need. Olmedo, the environmental advocate, supports the idea, but still has some concerns, including whether or not this would be sustainable in the long term. He says plenty of scientists have made promises and failed to deliver.
These are life-saving tools that can come out of this. So you want to make sure that they are open source, they are available to the public, and that they are owned by the public, especially if it requires long-term maintenance and operation.
Still, Olmedo says he's glad Evan is at least listening to the feedback and talking about doing something. He hopes this time will be different. In Calipatria, Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
This week, passengers began funneling in and out of the airport's new Terminal 1. Arts reporter Julia Dixon Evans explores how the airport is an unlikely art museum.
When driving up to the departure gates at the airport's new Terminal 1, the first thing you might notice is art. A gigantic, hot pink jellyfish welcomes travelers. Matthew Mazzata's Rise is a sculpture made of painted steel and flowy architectural mesh, intended to warn about rising sea levels.
If we don't pay attention to it, at one point there might be a jellyfish where this jellyfish is.
An airport may seem like an unusual place to find art, but Alita Lee, public art program manager for the airport, says it makes sense.
Art provides a way of entertainment in terms of maybe distraction or a way to get your mind off things and not be so stressed out in that environment.
Mazzata hopes the art ultimately improves the traveling experience and the place itself.
I think that cities have figured out if you invest in public art, it makes the whole thing better. It is a very efficient way to give people a touch point that brings identity. It brings joy. It's like wayfinding, landmark, the whole thing.
Julia Dixon Evans, KPBS News.
Girls flag football is growing in popularity with numerous high schools across San Diego County having teams. Education reporter Katie Anastas says despite the name, the game is becoming a little bit more physical.
High school flag football now has an official rule book. It's bringing changes to the game as Classical Academy's team enters its third season. Daniel Salas is head coach.
There's a lot of contact this year. A lot more than last year, that's for sure.
One big change involves the rusher. That's the player who runs toward the quarterback to try and keep her from passing the ball.
In years 1 and 2, they had to be 7 yards away. They can send 1 or 2 rushers. They had to indicate by I'm rushing with a hand up. So we really knew who was coming.
Now rushers are starting 1 yard away. Instead of 1 or 2, up to 7 players can go after the quarterback.
Now her reaction time has to go a lot quicker. Her decision making has to be within 1 second.
Mary Hayes is a senior who plays wide receiver. She says it's harder to pull off deep passes to receivers.
There's honestly just kind of less receivers out there because of the blocking. So I think that's a big change in the game.
Salas says this year's scores are lower.
We're now in the 20s and 30s. The last 2 years, we were constantly in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
He says teams are getting better as flag football becomes more popular. It will make its Olympic debut in 2028. Katie Anastas, KPBS News.
That is it for the podcast today. As always, you can find more San Diego news online at kpbs.org. I'm Lawrence K. Jackson. Thanks for listening and subscribing. By doing so, you're supporting public media, and I really want to thank you for that. Have a great day.
Hello, this is Dr. Michael Lalich, Medical Director and Chief of Staff for Kaiser Permanente San Diego. For more than 50 years, San Diegans have entrusted their health care to us. Our care and coverage connect to provide medical care tailored to each member. With our integrated network of primary and specialty care, we work together using evidence-based medicine to help deliver positive results. We believe in a healthy and engaged life with good beginnings and dignified endings. We believe that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness requires total health, including equal access to high-quality, affordable health care. At Kaiser Permanente, our cause is health. Our passion is service. We work to help make lives better. To learn more, visit kp.org/San Diego.